We're back and we've got a lot of issues on illegal mining on our hands this afternoon. We'll take you live to the streets of Accra, where day 2 of the demonstration against illegal mining is underway. But let's start from the central region. And it's a matter that obviously triggered the communication around illegal mining. Now, the turbidity levels of water bodies in the central region have reduced thanks to the police patrol there, as well as other measures put in place by the regional office of the Ghana Water Company Limited. This, according to Ghana Water Company, following weeks of supply challenges in Cape Coast, Elmina, and surrounding communities, which the company attributes to low turbidity. And we've got, an illustration to let you see the situation there. And of course, so previously, before this press statement that came in last night, the Ghana Water Company was recording 400,000 NTUs turbidity levels in their main water source in the region. And currently, as we speak, according to a press statement that came in yesterday, it has reduced from 14,000 to 9,000. But again, it is far, far higher than the recommended World Health Organization turbidity level in water bodies at 5 NTU. And so this is what you have. Previously, they were doing 1.981293 million gallons of water per day. And because of the situation as we have in Ireland, has moved from 1.9 to 2.7 million gallons of water per day. And this is for some parts of the central region, including Cape Coast, the regional capital, Elmina, and of course some other areas. So this is the situation, communicated by Ghana Water Company from 14,000 to 9,000. That's like some 5, NTU reduction, if you like, but still far higher ahead of the WHO recommendation, which is just 5 NTU. Now, joining us for a conversation on this development, we have Seth Eric, and we'll also be speaking to his Seth Eric Apiate, Regional Chief Manager, Ghana Water Company Limited. Mr. Apiate, if you are listening to me, good afternoon and welcome to the Pulse. Right, so we don't have him yet, we'll bring him on, but my colleague Erastus Asare-Donko is he's done a lot of work on illegal mining. And Erastus, you're welcome to the Pulse.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Elton.
Also joining us, Professor Emmanuel Ahen, Head of Geological Science Department, University of Energy and Natural Resources, and Executive Member, International Medical Geologists Association. Before we start, though, let's bring you details of what the Ghana Water Company shared with the public last night. Right, so let me start with the Ghana Water Company. Mr. Eric, Mr. Eric Apiate is the regional manager for the Ghana Water Company in the Central Region. Mr. Apiate, you're welcome to the Pulse.
Thank you for having me.
So the statement that came yesterday, you've managed to reduce the NTU level from 14,000 to 9,000. And this you attribute to recent patrols undertaken by the police and military, but still higher than the recommended WHO benchmark. But clearly something good is happening. How long are you hoping to sustain this exercise to bring down even further?
Sustainability is what we need. We hope we can continue for a while, and whilst we do this, we will have acceptable level. Also, that after doing this for a while, it will become the norm. When I say the norm, I mean the galaxies or illegal mining activity out of the river bodies will become the norm, so that we will have acceptable stability levels to operate.
9,000 is still very high and obviously impacting on the treatment methods that you adopted to treat water.
Yes, it's high, but we are happy to see that our interventions have begun yielding some results.
All right. So this collaboration with the Regional Security Council, is it to my understanding that it's still an ongoing exercise?
Yes, please, it is. It is, yes.
And we are hoping that they will be there as long as it takes.
We are hoping so. We are hoping so.
So how has this impacted on water supply in the areas that hitherto were having difficulties, especially Cape Coast, the regional capital, and of course, Elmina?
Yes, some improvements have been observed. Hitherto areas that used not to have at all, recently have been calling to appreciate our efforts. We however, will say that this is not the ideal situation because some are still not getting. And even those that are getting for very few hours. So we are looking for a perfect situation where we are able to produce about 18,000 cubic meters a day.
Mm-hmm. And so for those who are now, there's some kind of stability in water supply, and from your point of view, it can only even get better if the NTU level comes down even further. And
yes,
so,
please.
And then the issue is about, so the maintenance of these security agencies, this is the responsibility of the Regional Security Council.
Yes, that is why we really appreciated the effort of the Honorable Minister.
Again, people are also asking, even though as you pump in more chemicals to treat the water, can we trust the quality that comes to our taps?
Oh, yes, yes. We may have difficulty in treating, but whatever we push out is wholesome. So whatever difficulty we have is within the treatment plant. So far as we push the water out, it is approved by water quality, and it is wholesome for consumption.
So for now, those illegal miners that were operating around this, your operational sites, they've been driven out completely?
Yes, I can say to a large extent. Definitely some will still try, but within our catchment, they are not clearly around. But I don't know what is happening upstream, which is not within my jurisdiction. Because the Pra is a very long river winding through many communities and regions. So whatever happens upstream, the impact will be felt downstream. But at least for my catchment and wherever I can see, at least the intervention has taken them up for a while.
All right, Mr. Eric Atiapa, hold it there for me. Let me bring in my other guest, my colleague Erastus Aridonko. He's very familiar with this river source, the Pra River. So Erastus, you're hearing from the Chief Manager, Ghana Water Company in the Central Region. The intervention led by the Regional Security Council, according to us, led to reduction in the NTU in the Pra River, especially the one that is closer to the sexual human treatment plant. That obviously is a good news, but because you are familiar with this water source and you've been around it for some time now, what would be your reaction to what the Ghana Water Company is telling us?
I think we are rejoicing too early. This shouldn't be good news for anybody. If you have turbidity, which used to hover around in 2023, used to hover around 1,800, moved to about 3,400, got to about 7,000 within a matter of months, and then in some few months you got to 14,000. If it has dropped to 9,000 around a specific point. Remember, turbidity is not even across the the span of the river, it will differ in many sections of that particular river. And so he's talking about turbidity around a specific area,
right.
But can we do turbidity in other sections of the river and judge whether we are making any strides? And mind you, the NTU, the accepted level by WHO is 5.
Right.
So subtract 5 from 9,000.
That's 8,500 more outstanding.
It's nothing to be rejoicing about.
I'll come back to you, Russ. This is your initial reaction. Let me also bring in Professor Emmanuel Ahen, Head of Geological Science Department, University of Energy and Natural Resources, and also executive member of the International Medical Geologists Association. Prof, you are listening to the Ghana Water Company explanation. They are rejoicing over this. Do they have a cause for?
Yeah, thank you, Ethan. I listened to Eric, and I also heard what Erastus also said. So I'll start from where Eric ended. He mentioned that Pra River is very long. The stretch, I don't think we'll be able to calculate it. But we're having some sort of muddy waters in it. The point I want to make here is that I don't think it's the entire stretch of Pra that we are seeing this. As these discussions goes on, I'll bring out certain issues. But moving from 14,000 to 9,000, it's a good thing. I think it's a good news. I think we are in the position of trying to control the mess. As it is now, nobody is sure of where the mess are coming from. And I believe at the end of these discussions, we'll be able to bring out certain issues that will guide us to get closer to how to manage this mess. But Erastus, I think we should be happy this thing is going down. Thank you.
All right. So, Mr. Eric Atiapa, do you have any response for Erastus and Professor before we now get into the meat of the issue?
I think I want to tell Erastus that we are not rejoicing, but fair and good management practices. If you inform your consumers and the general public of an alarming situation that can cause fear and panic, when there is improvement, it is also you come to update of what you are doing. And we said that we'll make practice to periodically update them. We are doing this because in such approach, we get their buy-in and we get all on board in this fight against galamsey.
Yes, please go on.
And I also want to tell Erastus that there could be some stability in the raw water, but at least the water we push out has no color. So we make sure that we clean it before it's gone out. And
this reduction has been within what period? Because I remember...
it's just 1 month.
It's just one month.
From I think 1st September. Yes, 1st September to the end of September. So I'm just reporting for the period we have made the announcement.
Just some, public interest question, and then I'll bring in Professor Ahen. So yesterday I posted your statements on my X Spaces, my page, and it's generated some kind of a debate between those who are happy what the Ghana Water Company and the Central Regional Security Council have done, and those who are of the view that this statement could be politically motivated. What would be your reaction to such people who hold such view?
Oh, boss, I am managing water supply in Central Region. When I was in difficulty, I came out to inform the public and my consumers. Nobody asked me to do that. In the same way, when I have seen some changes, and these are things you can verify because we have daily reports that is sent everywhere. So for me, it is only a good practice that I inform my and if you look at my subject well, it is water supply issues I am more interested in the gaps between my water supply, and I am informing my customers. So nobody comes here to tell me what to do. I will keep updating my consumers and my customers. If it changes, I'll come out again to say it. So who will influence me and my team to say something? It is not so, please.
Emmanuel Ahin. Prof, so what is the danger here? What are we really dealing with?
Yeah, I think before we look at the dangers, Ghana Water has started something that is changing the numbers. The numbers don't just occur by accident. It meant that they are doing something. But there is something that I want to put across for us to consider. I'm not very sure about where your office is in Accra.
We are Kokomlemle.
If you wake up in the morning, there is a peak time that the traffic jams. The road from your house to the office, when they say that it's one of the traffic areas, it will not mean that the entire stretch of that road will be jammed. It will just be a portion of that road that the traffic will jam. The same thing can be used if we really want to address the problem of the high turbidity rates in our major rivers. These rivers are draining through some rocks, and these rocks are not the same. It doesn't mean that the entire stretch of track, if we are attributing the colorful nature of track to the small-scale people. The small-scale people will be operating within sections of track where the geological setting allows for gold mineralization. So if track will be dirty, it will be those sections. And therefore, if we want to address the problem of how turbid the water is, we must be able to identify those spots and then bring in the necessary interventions. But if you do say that, I was trying to Google to find out the length of Pra from its source to where it enters the sea, I don't think Ghana will have monies to do. So thinking about solving the problem before looking at the harmful effects, let's try to dive into how this problem can be solved. Maybe the military interventions that they are using, if they have sent it to the exact locations where we expect the source of pollution to have come from, we wouldn't have been talking about the 9,000. Maybe it might have come to about 500.
Right.
So the strategy of addressing the problem should be tackled, getting the experts to define these areas for us, and then we will see results coming. But it appears we are not ready for these solutions. We have made use of sentiments to take away the approach and methods that can be used to address this problem.
But Prof, the solution, as we have been told by those who are against illegal mining, they've made two proposals, at least the one that directly goes to address the destructive nature of our water and river bodies. And they are saying that government should, declare a state of emergency around the river bodies, and also a temporary ban of small-scale mining. Do you think these two are enough to restore the water and river bodies to the original state?
I don't think these two things can address the problem. Maybe media have made them to be aware of the problems, but the solutions that they are suggesting cannot. So if I ask till now, what is an illegal mining? Mining cannot be illegal. There is no way mining can be illegal. And then Galamsey, I don't think we really understand the word Galamsey. Okay, so if we are not using these terminologies properly, and we're using the word illegal, when do we say that something is illegal? You must have a legal framework.
Of course, if you don't have a license to mine, you are doing an illegal activity.
Not there at all. You can have the license, but the license that is given to you, there is a framework. There are certain things that you need to obey. It is when you go against those legal frameworks, that is when we will say that you are doing illegality. The question is, if we have to go back, BNDC Law 218, okay, that was when we started giving concessions to people to mine. And it started from 3 acres for maybe 3 or 4 people, 5 acres for about 7 people, and then for the cooperative, we were giving them what, 25 acres. Now, over there was a condition. Just mine for the gold using the local implement. That will not destroy the environment. And the time given for that was for 5 good years. That tells you that you cannot use this heavy moving equipment. So if that is the law we are using now, then anybody using heavy moving equipment is going against the law. That is when we can say they are doing illegality.
Okay.
I know that
yes.
2006 there was a revision and there has been some LI.
Right.
But the size of the concession has not changed. This is the point I always make. The size of the concession have not changed. So if people are using heavy moving equipment, then the 5 years that has been given based on the legal framework, he will use 2 weeks.
So Prof, you are saying that
the commission that monitors the operations, the mine department will get there and the people are gone. So when you change, you make some changes, you need to reflect over the law and make sure that it will not impact on the livelihood of the people.
The fact of the matter is that
people are supposed to use.
Yes, I just wanted to come in so that I can bring in Erastus or his take on what you are putting across. And I'm saying that the crux of the matter is that, I mean, the law exists, even in places where we have stiffer punishment for those involved in illegal mining or whatever you want to describe it. The punishment is so stiff, yet impunity is what we are witnessing. And so your suggestion would be exactly what?
My suggestion is anybody doing anything illegal must be arrested, prosecuted, and what the law says must be applied.
To some extent, that is happening.
I think we are not arresting people enough. Let me give you one case that happened at Konongo. The Minerals Commission officer there identified the problem. He cannot go into arrest. He reported it to the municipal assembly. The assembly was supposed to report to the law enforcement agencies to get them arrested. Until we begin to arrest these sort of illegalities and punish them, the impunity that I just mentioned will continue to be there.
According to the Attorney General, over 800 people.
We are not using them.
Yes, so according to the Attorney General, we have over 800 people in various calls, standing trial for their involvement in illegal mining. So clearly something is being done on that front. But before I come to you on the final bit on this discussion, let me bring in Erastus. Erastus, so you've heard the Ghana Water Company operational manager in the Central Region. You're also listening to Prof, who is professing some solution that he thinks that if we adopt it will help bring sanity in this particular area. What would be your reaction to the two issues that you are hearing? And whether or not we are on the same track?
Let me start with the submissions of Professor Ahin. With all due respect, I don't know what the Prof is trying to suggest when he says that there is nothing like illegal mining. In fact, the Minerals and Mining Act 2006, Act 703, specifically Section 15 of the Act states that a person shall not engage in mining activities within a protected area, a forest reserve, a water body, a public place, a settlement, an area within 50 meters from a public road. And then it goes on to state punishment for it from 2 to 5 years imprisonment. And when you have people using equipment to sit directly on a water body like Ankobra to mine and pollute it. You cannot say that is legal mining. It is not. When you have a company putting its washing bay directly at the edge of a water body, and I think Prof is well versed in geological matters and residue coming from mining, which is poisonous, he knows, contains heavy metals and all that. And so that is why we have best mining practices. You have to construct a tailings dam and cap that, contain that, and treat it. If you have a company that is sitting at the edge of the river and washing directly mining residue into a major river like the Tunnel, you cannot say that that is legal mining. That is not. That is criminality. That's a nature crime, punishable by law. And so we must distinguish very well what is criminal and what is not. Again, if I have to come to the Ghana Water Company, the reason why I say we shouldn't be jubilating, you see, the ordinary Ghanaian have a penchant for jubilating and then becoming complacent. You see, we are talking about a water body that is 8,000. When I subtract 5 from 9,000,
it's 8,500 you will get.
Yes, and you have that, and you are saying you shouldn't even be happy. You shouldn't even be happy. Those who are polluting the Pra along the well, I have gone on the Pra, in fact, from Chifo Pra so all the way to Chifo Timokwa. I've been on it. I know where mining is happening and polluting the river at certain points. Can the authorities tell us which areas they have stopped the mining? And I'll point them to other areas that mining is still going on as we speak. So when the people demand for a state of emergency on water bodies, they are simply saying, enforce the law which bans mining directly on water bodies.
But by Ross, even if we should even take some takeaway from the Ghana Water Company operation, clearly the lesson in here is that if this method is sustained, the possibility of us giving the river some rest and then with a gradual restoration of it to its natural course is something that can be achieved.
You asked a very, very incisive question. Are the military and police drawn from Accra going to stay there? That's a very, very good question. What was his answer? You see, we have done this before. We have done it for so many years. It's a firefighting approach. We bring in the military from Accra to solve problems in the Ewusieju, and then they go back. And what happens? The miners come back and they still pollute the water. What happened to the various security heads, the municipal, metropolitan security council heads, the MMDCs, the regional security council heads, who are directly stationed within the jurisdiction where the pollution is going on?
Right.
Why can't we tax these people and give them the same resources that we are giving the military to come in from Accra and do a firefighting Dumja approach and ask them to fight it? Why are we not firing MMDCs in whose jurisdictions some of these nature crimes are occurring?
Okay.
That is a sure way of ensuring that within your locality, you are the policeman, you are the military person. You are supposed to make sure none of that polluting activities happen within your jurisdiction.
Let me allow Mr. Atiapa to respond to these matters as we begin to conclude on this discussion. Yes, sir.
I want to inform Erastus that we are not jubilating. It's just to update all of us, including him. We are updating the public of the interventions and the results. And I believe that this will rather motivate all those who work in and all of us to do more. So that is one. And two, there are always short-term measures, medium-term measures, and long-term measures. When you are in the heat of something, probably you need drastic short-term measures whilst you look for a sustainable approach to sustain whatever you have gained. So, my brother, we are with you, and we're still looking for all the assistance we can gather to bring turbidity down.
Prof, you have the final word on this conversation. If you can hear me, Prof, you have the final words on this conversation. Right, we appear to have lost Professor.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes, you have the final word.
Yes, I was just trying to make reference to what Erasto said, that people are working on some water bodies and then in the forest reserve. Yesterday, I had a conversation with one director at Minerals Commission, asking him questions that form this, because I don't expect mining companies, small scale, to be precise, to be operating in the forest reserve. So he said they don't give concessions to small scale or Galamsey people in the forest reserve. Likewise, when it comes to the water bodies, and I gave him a typical example in '96 when I was working for a company called Bones Gold Holdings, at where Newmont is operating now. We saw that the mineralization was going through the forest. We applied to Minerals Commission to allow us to do the exploration there. We were denied. Okay. Yeah. Similarly, there was another area in Tepa area that used to be a forest reserve, but if you go in now, it's no longer a forest reserve. So he was able to convince me that they don't give concessions to people in the forest reserve, neither on the water bodies. So all the people that are operating on the water bodies are there illegally. And if they are there illegally, what we have to do is to arrest them and prosecute them. That is the point I am making. If we can punish things that are not legal, I believe the issue of our river bodies getting polluted will cease. It's not a matter of police or military going after them. It's a matter of arresting them and prosecuting them.
Right.
And then it will deter people from destroying what belongs to all Ghanaians.
All right.
That is all that I want to say.
Thank you so much, Professor Emmanuel Ahen. And to be very honest, I don't know what other law we need to put before Parliament for consideration before we can really have a handle on this matter. Because the current law that was amended, prescribed stiffer punishment for individuals engaged in illegal mining, between 15 and 20 years, and over 25 years for foreign nationals engaged in illegal mining. Yet, this practice and this menace continue to devastate our environment. And of course, I guess that it is a conversation that will not end today. But the paramount chief of Achim Kotoku traditional area, or Siadeyo, Dr. Frimpong Manson, has suggested to government to fully empower traditional rulers in mining communities as partners in the fight against illegal mining. According to him, any other decision to fight the menace, which has destroyed the country's forest cover and water bodies, would be a failure.
On jurisdiction. What I want to hear is that I have misused $200 million because those people make close to $1 million a year. I, the Omaihene, even if it was true, why will you question Omaihene about $100,000? $100,000, is it money, ASICA? Let's say that the government have put several initiatives together in the past. None of it is working well by itself. What we are suggesting to the government is that we are on the land. We live on the land. We use the land. We use the water. We drink the water. We need clean water. The government should get us involved because the government cannot do this alone by itself. The police alone cannot stop illegal mining. The military cannot stop illegal mining. EPA cannot stop illegal mining unless they get us, they empower us as partners to help them to solve the problem, because we are on the land every day. We know the people that are doing the illegal mining. We see them. It is us that can go to the land and stop it. The government should come to us, ask how we want to help them to do this. The power should not rest only with the government, because anything that government does on its own will not succeed. It has never succeeded anywhere. Look at all the socialist countries. In the end, they all revert because of human beings' own personal selfishness. Yeah. If they don't have interest in it, they will not help you to succeed.
Let's stay on this because he's also been reacting to accusations of his involvement in Galamsey. The Achim Kotoku overlord denied the claims made by one of his sub-chiefs, Nana Boni Abankro. He accused the Adusena chief of attempt to cause disaffection for him by tagging him as a promoter of illegal mining.
Yes. I make sure I don't sell because I want to preserve land for those who are not born. So if somebody tells me that you are destroying water, the person, I don't know what should happen to that person. Because my thing is to protect my land, protect my waters for the people that have been assigned to me to protect, and protect the land and resources for them and their children and generations to come. I have no interest, zero interest to destroy any land, zero interest to pollute any water, because I'm a physician and I take care of life. I take care of people. That is why I have a problem with alluvial mining. Because alluvial mining, a lot of it's hard to do it sustainably. But when people have been given licenses, if they want to do it, they should do it in a way that it is going to be so restorative and sustainable. It is a little bit difficult to do it. Rock mining, I don't have a problem with it, because if Ghana is one of the world's largest producers of gold, I think Ghanaians should participate in that economy. And Ghanaians should be not cowed into not participating in gold mining. Why should we sit there for foreigners to come and take close to $1 million on my land, but you tell your own citizens that they cannot participate in that industry? But I want you to participate in it responsibly. I encourage them to do rock mining, because rock mining, you take a small space and you go underground and leave the vegetation and the water clean. And when you want to, retrieve your gold, do it responsibly and use gravity and you use material that will not pollute the water. That is what I endorse.
Well, he has also been reacting to claims that he misappropriated some money allocated to him by Newmont meant for the reconstruction of his palace.
On jurisdiction. What I want to hear is that I have misused $200 million, because those people make close to $1 million a year. I, the Omaihene, even if it was true, why will you question Omaihene about $100,000? $100,000, is it money, ASICA? Let's say that Omaihene took $100,000. Hey, do you know how much money Omaihene makes if he were to be working in America? $100,000, and I have maintained this traditional.
Is a pause, and of course, very shortly, I'll take you to we'll be on the streets of Accra because it's day 2 of the Concerned Citizens demonstration against illegal mining. Today, they are hoping to present a petition to the Lands and Natural Resources Minister. My colleague Kenneth Jassi and Jacqueline, they are already on the phone. I will bring you the very latest shortly. But before we do that, though, just 6 days, organized labor will withdraw all services across the country, causing the economy to shut down. The only thing that can save this is government response to their demand, which is, among others, a declaration of state of emergency, revocation of LI 2462, deployment of the military to halt all forms of small-scale mining that are destroying the country's water bodies. Ahead of the D-Day, some leaders of organized labor have been meeting with President Akufo-Addo, at that meeting, the president is said to have made a promise, an appeal to organized labor to reconsider their decision to go on strike. Now, investigative journalist Manasseh Azuri Awene has written an open letter to organized labor appealing to them not to disappoint Ghanaians. He joins me for a conversation around this matter. Manasseh, good to have you here on the post.
I'm happy to be with you, Elton.
So organized labor, from what we've been told, they are hoping to have a meeting on Monday to discuss the president's appeal to them. But we all do know that even before that meeting on Monday, what we picked from the Jubilee House is that President Akufo-Addo was quite clear that the other demand, which is for the government to revoke LI 2462, that he will do. We understand that Parliament will reconvene on the 15th of October and will be among the items that will be put before the House. But the other matters, a ban and a state of emergency, that he's asking them to reconsider. Your take?
Well, I don't think it is enough to say that Parliament will revoke the LI. That is just a little part of the problem. But a bigger problem is that hundreds of people have been given licenses to go into various parts of the country in the name of small-scale mining. And what they are doing is not any different from the galamsey or the illegal mining that we know. The only difference is that they have the power of the state backing them. And the scale of the problem is such that we shouldn't at this point be considering piecemeal approaches. We are in a state of emergency. If Ghana Water Company is complaining about the possible, it's already affecting their operations.
Right.
And those who live in Ghana know that your taps don't always flow. So if we are in a situation that is going to get worse, then we must act and not consider this piecemeal approach in the name of politics.
But remember yesterday, for example, after this meeting, and Joy FM spoke to the Federation of Labour, Kenneth Kumsin, who represented the Federation of Labour, and NAGRAT, represented by Angel Carbono, who is the president of NAGRAT, was not invited to this meeting at all. Now, you have written an open letter to them, asking them not to disappoint Ghanaians. Some people are already skeptical about organized labor going into their meeting on Monday.
Well, what I know about governments and politicians all over the world is that they will not just sit down and allow a united front. The best approach, which may be clandestine, but from a very popular playbook, which politicians know over the world, is to divide and conquer. So I will be surprised if the politicians or the government is not already trying to divide the front of the labor unions and get them to disagree and not let this happen. I think the biggest threat to the government is the election that is going to happen.
Right.
We know both the NDC and the MPP want the votes of these illegal miners. And in my article, I have said that the NDC doesn't even deserve the political advantage of the outcome of this fight. But we are in a state of emergency, so the organized labor should not care about who suffers and who gains. After all, this issue did not happen in start in 2024. President Akufo-Addo had 8 years to have resolved this issue.
Right.
And if the MPP administration had resolved it, we wouldn't be in a situation that they will be concerned that taking an aggressive stand against illegal mining will affect its political fortunes. So organized labor should remain organized as we expect them to be. We know very well that the government or politicians will try to divide their ranks. There are already allegations about compromise, which the Ministry for National Security has denied. But their credibility, their integrity, and the seriousness with which we will view organized labor going forward will depend on what they do from now till October 10th. Ghanaians expect nothing from them except that they carry out their threats. The only way we would expect them to call off this strike is if the president addresses their demand, because the photographs we are seeing, the videos we are seeing from the eastern, Ashanti, western, and some parts of the country are not things that we should take for granted, Elton.
Of course, and we are all looking forward to this crucial meeting on Monday that will inform their next step forward. But clearly, government is not showing any appetite in terms of meeting the demand to declare a state of emergency and also ban small-scale mining. I mean, comments we've heard from some MPs, some functionaries of government clearly tells you the mind of government going into the elections and the demand now. It simply may not stand. But you have people, organized labor, they are human beings, they are not angels. And some of them belong to the various political parties. So clearly, it is a difficult position. But you trust that they will stand their ground?
I trust that they stand their ground. In terms of politics, nobody is, let's say, neutral. I have said I'm not voting this year, but if I were to vote, I'll still vote for one party. And they have their differences, they have their political leanings, but they are not serving in those positions for their own interest.
Right.
So as journalists, we have our political differences, and I've written many times that I'm not neutral. But the fact that you align or you vote for a certain political party doesn't mean that when that party is in office and the nation is under a threat. So if we had been attacked by a foreign army and then the president is saying, well, I know it is what you are saying is right, we should attack, we should fight back, but if I fight, I'll lose the election. Were we going to sit down and say, well, it is my party that is in power, so let me not act? Okay. I think we should trust that the TUC and the various workers' unions, their leadership, we should trust that they are human beings with conscience. They are human beings with brains. They are human beings with the interest of Ghana at heart.
Right.
We have the Medical Association and others, all part of it. So if they see the devastation that happens, if you go to your hospitals and you cannot get water to work, and then you are supposed to act for the government to take action, and then you want to say that you are protecting your political party, then I don't believe that would make them fit to be in those positions in the first place. And I don't want to believe that organized labor will put their petty politics above national interest. I still trust that they will do what is right by Ghanaians.
And we hear that outcome on Monday, but I'd like to say thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Manasseh Awuni.